On World Food Day, we'll take you on a voyage to explore the possibilities for food sufficiency in Nigeria. Our correspondent explored the benefits from the recent Nigeria-Turkey Business Forum in Istanbul. Plus, we'll bring you update on health matters and much more. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Panorama. I'm Ruth Aguele. Welcome. As the world celebrates World Food Day, Nigerians have been assured of vibrant policies and programs to achieve food security and improved livelihood, as contained in the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, gave the assurance in Jigawa State while inspecting 40,000 hectares of irrigation farmlands to be used for massive wheat production in the state. Awal Mohammed Kazauri reports that the theme for this year's celebration is Water is Life, Water is Food.
An agriculture organization is a specialized agency of the United Nations is marking the day to celebrate the amazing food that people have and to also raise awareness for people who do not have such privilege. Many people around the world face hunger and starvation, which is a massive problem in a number of countries, and the world needs to do more to raise awareness to combat this problem. Here in Nigeria, the federal government has set up short, medium and long-term plans for the realization of food security in the country. This, the Minister of Agriculture and Food Security, Abubakar Kyari, says the country has all the potential, noting that farmers will be exposed to modern farming trends and implement for bumper harvest.
The commitment is there also from the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, and we are along that trajectory. You will recall that out of the 8-point agenda of Mr. President, number one is food security. That in itself shows you the commitment of Mr. President. And there are three other out of the 8 that also has to do with agriculture, job creation and the economy and the economic growth, and poverty reduction, and also inclusivity, because I see a lot of youth here and want to engage a lot of youth. Instead of lying fallow and lying idle, let them engage in something that will enhance their livelihood.
The minister says the federal government is not taking chances in exploring all opportunities embedded in the agricultural sector to boost the nation's food production for local consumption and exports. The minister was also at the palace of the Emir of Hadejia, Adamu Abubakar Maje, to intimate him on the federal government effort to invest in wheat production, as Jigawa State is contributing 40,000 hectares of fertile land to the program. In Dutse, Awal Muhammad Kazaure, NTA News.
We go to Istanbul, where we hear Nigeria's ambassador to Turkey, Ismail Abba Yusuf, has assured prospective investors of the present administration's commitment to ease of doing business and returns on investment, as he urges them not to miss the opportunity of investing in Nigeria at this time. This was at the Nigerian Investment Forum at the just concluded 4th Turkey African Business and Economic Forum in Istanbul. Let's hear from Benny Adams.
Strengthening economic ties and cultivating robust partnerships between Turkey and Nigeria with the shared objectives of fostering trade, development and mutual growth is the reason for this gathering.
They and the Nigerian Embassy.
And seated here are visionary entrepreneurs, business leaders and industry experts from Turkey and across Africa together in a bid to unlock countless potential trapped in the region. With 70 Chamber of Commerce under NASIMA, the private sector in a warm handshake with the public sector are selling Nigeria to the world.
Agriculture and everything Nigeria is an opportunity, I'll tell you. If you solve any problem in Africa, you make money. It's still a place where you need investment in almost every sector you can imagine. And there are willing business partners to take you there.
The train is taking off. You must take the train now. If you are not in Nigeria, you are not in Africa. This is simple truth.
The government at the official level are doing everything possible to remove obstacles to trade, to enhance people-to-people contact between the two countries, so that both sides can have mutually beneficial prosperity, peace, and security.
They are interested in boosting Nigeria's $4.2 million creative sector in addition to mining, energy, textile and furniture, agriculture and the blue economy, alongside oil, gas, hospitality and tourism. And they all agree that if one is not doing business in Nigeria, then one is not yet in Africa. In Abuja, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Indeed, and Nigeria's reform efforts have been globally acknowledged and applauded as capable of putting the country on the path to economic recovery. Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Aguele, confirmed this in Marrakesh, Morocco, while briefing journalists on the outcome of Nigeria's participation at the 2023 annual meetings of the World Bank and IMF. Ineka Oko reports that the Minister of Finance also left the meeting with a new portfolio.
For several days, the Nigerian delegation led by the Minister of Finance actively engaged with various stakeholders and participated in important discussions and panels. Most of these conversations, the minister disclosed, centered around Nigeria's need for increased domestic revenue mobilization as a crucial element in the country's long-term strategy towards achieving sustainable development finance.
We also emphasized the overall need for support from the private sector around the world, because no matter how much you try and raise domestically, and no matter how much multilateral institutions are able to give, it is a drop in the ocean compared to if you can attract foreign direct investment.
The minister also urged for continued multilateral cooperation to tackle debt challenges, which supports the G20 Common Framework and the Global Sovereign Debt Roundtable. Nigeria is not leaving the annual meetings without a new portfolio, having been appointed as chair of the African Governors Forum.
It means that Nigeria has the leadership of the African Governors Forum within the World Bank Group. It is Nigeria that will help to set the agenda and push the case, for instance, for a third member of the Board of Governors from Sub-Saharan Africa, so that we have a bigger voice in the governance, we have more representation in the board of the World Bank Group and the IMF.
As the Nigerian delegation prepares to bid farewell to Marrakesh, it is hoped that the outcomes and recommendations from this year's annual meetings will be carefully analyzed and considered in Nigeria's future economic policies to propel the country towards economic prosperity and financial stability. Neka Oku, NTA News.
Thank you, Ineka. And let's leverage on these economic forums and, of course, investment forums. Bilateral relations, it's a common feature between countries, and the current administration has been in the forefront of expanding Nigeria's economic frontiers by seeking new investment. We have in the studio to speak on the benefits from this present administration leading by President Bola Tinubu's recent foreign shuttles. You've seen all of that. I want to talk to Mr. Chris Aguirre, a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Aguirre.
Yeah, thank you very much. Good to be here.
All right. You've seen the demonstration and commitment by the present administration in wooing investors into the country. And of course, the last that was really deliberated on was the UN General Assembly, where the president and other ministers that attended, demonstrated Nigeria's commitment on the ease of doing business. That is when there's investment in the country. Please, what are your perspective on that?
Yeah, Mr. President's first appearance in the United Nations General Assembly and the bilateral discussions that went on the sideline, it's a step in the right direction. He spoke from the heart. He told them, the world, that Nigeria is ready for business. To those investors across the world, that's ready. And of course, it's a bilateral issue. It's a give and take situation. And from the background you gave, you can see the ministers are up and doing. I'm impressed with the efforts so far. And then, but there's one thing, to be very candid and honest, as a Nigerian, there's one thing that I think we should pay proper attention to, and that is the world is ready for Nigeria. But is Nigeria ready? The president and his ministers are driving Nigeria. Of course, the president is the number one marketing officer of Nigeria. Is Nigeria ready? If you look at the social media in the global village, Nigerians, for reasons I don't know, either for political reasons, for mundane reasons, are busy demarketing Nigeria. They are busy demarketing Nigeria. And that should stop. Because the elections are over. The cases are in the Supreme Court. Well, no matter what the outcome may be, there is a Nigeria to be saved, to be served, and there is a Nigeria where God has placed us.
Okay.
So irrespective of whatever be your political interest, whatever be your tribal, religious, personal, political, business interest, let us let the world know that Nigeria and Nigerians are ready for the world to come.
All right.
And invest.
Mr. Aguere, it's quite unfortunate what you talked about based on your findings of Nigerians, the marketing Nigerians, while the government on one hand is trying to promote, the country in a positive direction. We saw the G20 summit by the president a month now in India that the president attended. And there is still more on the pipeline. The vice president just left for Beijing today, or yesterday rather. So these investments are coming in, but what is more important is to ensure that ease of doing business is sacrosanct. How would you react to that?
Yeah, the president said emphatically, he said, I'm here for business. If you're ready, I'm ready. He promised that he is going to remove any bottleneck whatsoever. When he made, was it Hadija, the business mogul, who promised, to bring an investment of $14 billion to Nigeria. The president said every bottleneck, including taxes, which borders on ease of doing business. Yeah. But you see, in doing that, things walk through the government apparatus and the government bureaucracy. The Nigerian civil servants and the public servants, are they conscious of this fact? Are they ready to, do things to ease the business environment? Because if you go to government offices, it's almost business as usual. Things that are supposed to take 1 hour will take weeks, and you just see some kind of like a digital attitude. You don't see a sense of urgency in the way government people, approach, approach businessmen and people who come for one approval or another. So where the president and vice president and ministers are busy throttling the world, marketing Nigeria, there should be the inward-looking approach. In fact, the president should read, a riot act to the civil servants, to those government institutions and agencies through which you must pass through, either in corporation or business, in getting one approval or another, in the issues of taxes, in issues of shipping and clearing. If we don't get these things, if we don't reinvigorate them, if we don't pay attention to them, they will, by acts of omission or commission, they will frustrate investors. I said it with all sense of respect to those of them who had committed, to the Nigerian project and doing their best to ensure that investors are encouraged to come in. Because like the Turkish man said, if you're not in Nigeria, you're not in Africa.
All right.
I'm not saying it because I'm a Nigerian. Yes, proudly a Nigerian. I tell you the truth, Nigeria is one of the countries you can invest in the world.
All right.
And you make huge profit. If and only if the internal environment is conducive, which is the prerogative of Nigerians. Why, as a Nigerian, you must adjust yourself to welcome the world. Or else, without the foreign direct investment, we can't get out of the woods.
Mr. Aguere, I have to cut in there. Also, I just want to hear your final thoughts. I know there's a whole lot that the present administration is trying to look into, especially if we look inward. But what are the projections in terms of the economic trajectory? Very briefly, Mr. Aguele, please.
Yeah, of course. The future is bright for Nigeria. Nigeria is a land of promise. You know, Nigeria is embedded with potentials in every sector, in every field of human endeavor. That's what I'm saying. Nigeria is a nation embedded with greatness. And in terms of business, look at our population. The average investor all over the world is yearning to come into Nigeria.
Indeed.
So I advise that we Nigerians should please, against all odds, prepare ourselves to welcome them.
Mr. Aguele, we have to leave the conversation there. Let's put our eyes on the prize and watch what will come out as we all endeavor to be patient and keep hope alive. Thank you very much, Mr. Chris Aguele. He's a public affairs analyst. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
All right, we'll take a break. We're back shortly. Please don't go anywhere.
The counsel of our fathers.
I will urge and advise our younger generation to use talent and brain to sort out problems, not arms.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
I believe we have fought one civil war too many in this country. So those who experience it will run away from it.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. The Coordinating Minister of Health and Social Development, Professor Ali Pati, says hospitals across the country will be given the much-needed support to provide the required health care delivery to Nigerians in line with the renewed hope agenda of the present administration. The minister said this while on a facility tour of the National Hospital here in Abuja. Basita Ipang reports.
The minister on arrival was received by the Chief Medical Director, Professor Mohammed Raji, who lamented the poor state of equipment at the hospital, appealed for support to enable the hospital perform optimally as expected. He expressed hope that with the visit of the minister, their problem will receive attention.
The National Hospital was created to be the apex hospital in the whole country, where even tertiary hospitals refer to. So unfortunately, you come to a situation where you find that it's even struggling to be a tertiary hospital. Our aim actually is not just to target Nigerians alone. Our aim is to even get clients from West African and Sub-Saharan countries.
Giving an overview of the visit, the minister stressed the need for medics to put patients and Nigerians at the center in defining what health problems need to be solved. He said the visit has given him a first-hand knowledge of the challenges at the hospital and similar ones he visited across the nation. Professor Pate said it is his responsibility to ensure that service delivery gets better across the country.
Obviously, there are many pieces of equipment that have been here for many years. Some have become obsolete, some are not functional, and I have seen similar situation in other federal teaching hospitals. So at this moment, we realize that a coherent approach to medical equipment maintenance is necessary so that we get the most value for all the public investments, so that our patients have the services that they require to prevent diseases, to diagnose diseases, but also to treat diseases.
On the issue of brain drain, the minister promised to make the working environments more conducive for medical personnel to work in Nigeria.
Give you this full answer.
NTA News.
From the judiciary, the Court of Appeal is to adjudicate on all appeals emanating from the decisions of the election petition tribunals across the country in Abuja and Lagos divisions. The president of the court, Justice Monica Dongban Mensem, gave the directive in Abuja. In the light of this, all appellate cases bordering on governorship, national and state assembly elections from State Election Tribunal judgments will now be heard in the 2 divisions instead of the 20 divisions of the court. The Abuja division will handle appeals from 19 northern states, while 17 southern state cases move to Lagos. The House of Representatives says the anticipated allocation of vehicles to members of the House is strictly for oversight functions and constituency outreach, but not as status symbols. Chairman House Committee on Media and Public Affairs, Akin Rotimi Jr., in a statement says this clarification has become necessary as the matter has generated public interest with exaggerations. He confirms that the National Assembly bureaucracy is in the process of making phased procurement and distribution of operational vehicles to members of the House over the coming weeks and months, and that they are not personal vehicles, but utility operational vehicles that will enable lawmakers discharge their duties effectively and above board, without being susceptible to inducement. The House of Representatives further states that for the duration of the 10th Assembly, that is from 2023 to 2027, the vehicles shall remain the property of the National Assembly, unless lawmakers wish to make payment for the outstanding value of the vehicles to government coffers before they can become theirs. If the extant assets, the bordering policy of government is still in place by 2027. Boat captains sailing waterways in Lagos State can now breathe a sigh of relief as the federal government commences clearing of water hyacinth on the waterways that has become an impediment to navigation on the seas. Larry Belay reports.
A few heaves to Ikorodu jetty, where the water hyacinth interlocked on the sea. The hyacinth clearing machine called Swamp Devil clears the sea surface of hyacinth to make it easy for boats to navigate the waterways. This water hyacinth has been a challenge for the boats moving on the water, from damaging the engines to compromising the safety of passengers and the captains in the boat. And this has necessitated the need for National Inland Waterways Authority to clear this hyacinth periodically.
We are carrying out our due diligence to mitigate this menace. It obstructs easy movement of boats on the waterway.
For boat owners along the route, this gesture by the government will go a long way in preventing accidents.
You can see the way they are bringing it out to ease the movement for boat operators. And stop doing this is going to affect our gearbox, likewise consumption of fuel.
Kudos for them to come and give us a navigational route for the customers and the boat operator to bat their boat.
This clearing exercise, NIWA says, will also be done in many strategic routes across waterways in Lagos. Lanre Bilayi, NTA News.
As part of reforms for effective policing in Nigeria, the Minister of State Police Affairs, Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, is currently attending the International Association of Chiefs of Police Conference in the United States. Francis Fum reports that this is aimed at aligning Nigeria's efforts with global best practices and fostering a more progressive Nigerian police force.
During the visit, the minister had a meeting with San Diego Chief, Christian Bible, and discussions centers on shared commitment on innovation, accountability, and community-centric policing, while noting that the visit is a testament to the unwavering dedication of the President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda for the Nigeria police. The minister also visited the San Diego Central Jail, which serves as a beacon of progress, embodying the transformation that Nigeria aspires to achieve. And for the Police Affairs Minister, it is a privilege to witness firsthand the strides made in correctional facilities and rehabilitation programs, setting an example for Nigeria to emulate. The visit is expected to serve as a cornerstone in the ongoing mission to build a police force that the Nigerian communities can trust and rely upon. Francis from NTA News.
Next is Sports Update.
We begin with the Super Eagles.
The Super Eagles of Nigeria will hope to improve their performances from their 2-2 draw against Saudi Arabia as they take on Mozambique national team in their second international friendly this Monday in Portugal. Nigerians expect more purposeful and coordinated attack in the absence of injured Victor Osimhen and Kelechi Iheanacho, who will be missing the crucial tie due to injury and personal reason.
No, the most important thing with friendly matches is for the coach to fine-tune his team. So Osimhen and Iheanacho not being available doesn't really matter. It now gives the coach a chance to play other players like Murphy and Boniface and Lookman and see how they blend.
Still on football, the 2023-2024 Nigeria Premier Football League (NPFL) season for Match Day 3 was concluded on Sunday across all match venues in the country. In Umuahia, Abia Warriors returned to winning ways with a hard-fought 1-0 win over Kano Pillars at the Umuahia Township Stadium. Remo Stars produced a remarkable display with a 2-1 victory over Bayelsa United at the Samson Siasia Stadium in Yunagua, while at the Eyimba International Stadium, Aba, the People's Elephant Eyimba FC secured their first win over Akwa United after 4 games with a late 3-2 win. In Akwa, Rangers International picked their second home victory of the season with a 2-1 win over Niger Tornadoes at the Akwa City Stadium. Shooting Stars came from a goal down to defeat Gombe United 2-1. In the other games in Lagos and Port Harcourt, it ended in a goalless draw between Sporting Lagos and Doma United. As the Paul Ofa-led side dropped 2 points at home, Rivers United was also held at home by Kwara United. And finally to athletics. The 3-day athletics meet in Benin City, Edo State, aimed at discovering new talents and future champions, ends with presentation of trophies and prizes to outstanding schools and individuals' most valuable performances. Paul Omukago reports that organizers expressed satisfaction with the level of standard and response of the athletes. With Sports Update, Suleiman Musa, NTA News.
For your time, do have a beautiful day ahead. I'm Ruth, Aguele. Bye.